You're tuned into Taiwan Grooves. Let's explore the local music scene. Good day to everyone who's listening. Today I am joined by two members of the band Sonus de Gaia. This band represents a fusion of different cultures and brings together ancestral traditions in harmony with nature. Their music offers unprecedented journey that transcends borders and conveys a message of awareness and connection with the cosmos, Mother Earth, Gaia, and our inner selves. Today we will cover the inception of the band, how the two members got together, and their musical backgrounds, briefly touch upon what kind of music and languages make Sonus Gaia what it is, and how does rehearsing and producing new music work among the international members. But just before we introduce today's guest, let us savor the combination of Taiwanese and European music with its Luminous Echoes, their latest album, and the track called Littleton Wedding. thank you very much. This is your second interview within the last hour and a half too. So thank you very much for being here again in the same studio. I'm happy to talk to you in different language now. And who do we owe the pleasure to?
Hello everyone, we are Sonus de Gaia band. I'm Sing, the singer and guitar player.
I'm Falk Bonitz from Germany, and I joined the band like 4 years ago, and enjoying playing with them since then.
Awesome. If I were to tell the listeners, like, what kind of music do you wish to create, how would you tell me in a couple of words, sentences, perhaps?
The first album, we call it intercontinental music, which is similar as a war music, or in 20 years ago, we call New Age music.
Now, let's dive into the origin of the band. When did the band officially start and how?
I met the drummer José in Boston 2010, which is, 15 years ago, long time. As we came back to our own country, he went back to Spain and I went back to Taiwan for a few years. I started to compose more music by my own and tour with my baritone guitar project in Taiwan. And at the same time, I just want to create like war music, but I don't know who can join. And I just think, maybe I can invite José to come to Taiwan as a tourist, and then we, tour around Taiwan and maybe find some way to compose. Yeah, we started from that, and I didn't realize he will stay so long at that time, like 8-9 years. Yeah.
You must have had some very good persuasion skills, like, hey, do you want to come all the way from your country to here to make some good music? Yeah, let's do it. All right, so now in total, how many members do you have?
It's hard to count in a serious way because in the beginning we have 2 members as composers, and we start to invite more different musicians from different culture, different countries.
That's how you
different
recorded
instruments.
the first album also. Yeah. This way.
And we started the first album as a duo, but we just realized we couldn't perform our music with just only 2 members. This is just a big production. So we start to invite vocal harmony or different vocals, different players, like Aboriginals players, Germans players,
you were looking for German players.
We didn't realize we were
big poster. German players wanted.
Yeah, but now in the second album we started as 5 members: guitars, drums, bass, keyboards, and bamboo flute.
So you're very international band. We got Taiwan, we got Germany, and then we have
Spain,
Galicia. Yeah. And then the bassist called Brandon, he's grew up at Canada, but he's also a Taiwanese, so he has both region. And then we have a bamboo flute player. She based on Taiwan and China. Yeah.
Okay. Brandon, I have heard this name. Does he play a lot of instruments besides bass?
Yes, bass, piano, trombone.
So he's known in the industry, even to me. All right. So Falk, you play piano and you play guitar. Could I ask just how did you get to your instrument, and do you have any, maybe perhaps a memorable event connected with it? Or
in my case, it was basically my grandmother. Very practically, she had a piano. She had an acoustic piano at home, and that was the easiest way how to get into the piano. You just have one and you start playing on it. And then basically I started it was still, at that time, it was still like the former East Germany. So that means the musical education was also very serious and very organized and actually pretty good. And so I started this path and I never left that. I don't know, it never was in question even. I had a short moment before I went to study that I was thinking, okay, if I'm not passing the exam, for example, what will I do then? So I was thinking maybe I could do history or something. But I passed the exam and then that's it. The rest is history. Yeah. And I actually studied classical piano first in Germany, because that was, even at the time, it was 90s. Yeah, there was barely any jazz yet. I mean, it
Time
sounds
to bring it in.
ridiculous nowadays, but it was at the time was like this. So usually the path was more through the classical.
I hear the same story from Taiwanese jazz musicians.
Yeah.
Exactly. I started playing piano, perhaps more forced into it, then kind of like got around his own way, started doing his own thing, and suddenly, later they brought jazz to Taiwan.
Yeah.
So I was very happy about it. Like, wow, you guys started something. You're giving to the community, passing on.
Definitely goes like this. I mean, luckily in this instrument, the piano, it's kind of easy. It's different than if you would be a singer or even guitar player. When you study classical, when you study classical guitar, it's a little bit harder to transfer. But piano, honestly, it's not even that big of a difference after all.
Doesn't have to be, but in the music, it's very useful because I see. That's why I asked the question specific, like how many members can you call out that you have consistently? Because in one live performance on YouTube, I saw 5, and then another I saw 6. For me, in my opinion, I always think the more the better because there's more richer sounds, there's more instrument, just sounds more colorful, right? So I'm happy that you have more and more people and very all over the world. That's oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to ask. So Sonus de Gaia means the sounds of the earth.
The earth, yeah.
Picking a name for a band is a tough quest for a lot of bands, right? Mm-hmm. So
we were searching as international language between Spain, like Western culture, and also Eastern, like Taiwan culture. So we're searching a word that can present our music or our band. And suddenly we found a word called Gaia. Gaia in Celtic or in the Spanish culture as Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we found in Taiwan Aboriginals, there's one called Taiya. They have the same word called Gaia. And also, it's the same meaning as Mother Earth. So maybe we can use this word. Mm-hmm. And then it's about the music, so we call it Sonus. Sonus as Latin, it means songs. So song of the Gaia, which is a song of the earth. So our band called Sonus de Gaia. 大地之歌乐团.
Brilliant name, really. Yeah, I like it.
A lot of thinking, but it takes a lot of time to figure out.
Definitely, I feel like finding the name is a big, huge milestone. If I were to ask you perhaps some musical influences, either personal or for your band?
I think in our band members has the same background. When we are little, as children, we study classical music. I play classical piano when I was little, and I think you too. The flute player, José as a drummer, when they are little, they play and listen to a lot of classical music. And when we are in the high school, we start to like rock music, rock and roll, 70s, 80s. It's always like
the Beatles.
I like the Beatles as a 60s. At that time, we become a big fan of rock and roll music. And then it's like a journey. It's like journey. I want to become Eric Clapton. I want to become the Beatles. I want to become Don McLean as a folk singer. Yeah, that's a really long, almost 10 years. We are searching ourselves, who can I become? Yeah. And then we start to compose. We just realize, okay, maybe the only one I can become is only me. Not someone.
There's no other Clapton.
Yeah. So we start trying to express ourselves, like what we want to say in the music, find the same language or the same word or the same meaning, the same concept, and then put it into the music, start to cook. It's like making a meal or make a bottle of wine, and then you got to let it sit for a while to see if it's working as a chemical reaction. Yeah, sometimes you want to put something there and then it fail, and then we got to start it again. So it takes many years to produce the first album, almost 5 years. We tour around Spain, Portugal, and then Taiwan, and then US, and then I went to China for so many times as a tour musicians. Look around, what is the intercontinental language and music? At the beginning, we don't even know how does it sound like. Just try to make a experiment for almost 10 years.
Perfect, nothing to add.
So far, nothing to add, yes. I mean, what I would add is that very often these processes, they happen quite...
organically?
Yeah, not intended. It's not with intention very often. Like I think barely anyone sits there and thinks, so I want to write this certain kind of music now. I think you just start playing what you actually like. And sometimes people talk about big inspiration. I'm not even so sure if that always is, if that is really always needed. Sometimes it's just playing. I think in that sense, I remember I had a very interesting classical professor at college who told me once that I should never forget it's called playing the piano and not working the piano. Very interesting quote for a German piano professor.
It's true though.
Right? So so I was quite lucky in that sense. So he had a lot of understanding also for my interest in improvised music and stuff. This is somehow where most song ideas, where most improvisation, where most free playing starts, is really literally playing like with the instrument, like with a toy. Seeing what can it produce? How does it work? Like, of course, the more experienced you are, the more ideas you have, the more concepts you have. But sometimes it's also important to not go always exactly in the same concept and try something else, try to play with it in a different way. And I think this was, in a certain way, definitely also the core of our band, that we actually did not play songs or concerts so much at the beginning. We did a lot of sessions. We just met and played with each other like for hours, sometimes 2-3 hours, just jamming, because we just liked it.
For yourself.
We just for ourselves. We just liked it. And then at some point, it turned out being so good and the chemistry so well that we started to recording it. First with a more or less improvised sound gear, and later it got more professional. Then we got a grant for producing more or less professional, and we could afford to invite some known. I think you probably have seen the Gaia live sessions on YouTube. There are about 20 episodes, and we have even a couple of not stars but pretty internationally known people as guests. So it was pretty successful, and it was very successful for ourselves, because we got a lot of confidence also in regarding that band and this kind of music. And then you don't really think so much. You do not really reflect that. At least me, maybe other people deal with that differently, but I do not reflect so much about the influence or the style. For me, the central ingredients of music is emotion. Once this is there, I do not even care where it's coming from.
Oh, beautifully put. This is how I know that you guys are experienced at music, because once you're past certain level, you think in this way, right? If you're in the beginning stage like I am, you're kind of just like, okay, I like these bands. I'll try to make something similar while still adding my stuff there, so I don't snatch anything from them. But that's very beautifully put. I do like the approach how you guys did it, because a lot of bands will try to rush and just try to get a lot of things just done, to have maybe 1-2 song and go for a concert. Like, we already have a couple of songs, let's just start getting our name out there. It's not as bad approach, of course, it's different, but I like that you guys just meet for the sake of let's jam. It turns into hour-long sessions, like 2 hours, 3 hours, and then the idea just kind of rose. You're like, hey, can you play that again? Okay, let's come back to it, and the song is born. Yeah, that's very, I would say, effortless on your side. You just do what you do, and song just appears.
Yeah. It's interesting to just talk about that, but I always thought I would think about going, for example, in cinematic music, in any music for movies or something. And I always was I was hesitating for one particular reason, because in this branch you have to produce so much music on purpose on the spot. You have to sit there and, okay, now I have to produce this.
Yes.
And for me, maybe it's a luxury, but for me, this process of really doing what I like and doing I practice because I really actually like it. And I write a song because I really want, or I feel something now and I want to put it, I play with it and I want to put it in a certain form. And whatever format it is, I will see that at the end, I will experience, and I'm not limited by any kind of expectations. And I kept that luxury for me so far.
Very good. I hope it never leaves you.
Yeah.
Because I just had a guest, who does short movies, documentary animation songs. And exactly how you said it, like there's too much time pressure. You got to be in this New York studio that costs a lot. He's got to have the whole orchestra ready. He has to memorize everything. He has to do all the, everything. So there is pressure. And then he said that he would like to work on his own stuff, to compose his own music, not for a scene or a movie or something, but like something express himself. But somebody's got to pay the bill, so
that's it. I was just saying he probably makes a lot of money. That's the other side.
I hope so. Depends on the cases, but yeah. If I were to ask, what languages do you use to sing and to write your music?
For now, I prefer to use Taiwanese language. It's like a native language in Taiwan. I do that because it's based on my mother language. Yeah, so I want to sustain and express myself more with that. In the first album, we did more like Indian language or Amis as aboriginals, and Paiwan Zhu language. So as I remember, I sing more than 5 languages, melodies and lyrics in the first album, and trying to search the same concept as the Mother Earth between different races or different cultures. That's what we are still doing right now.
It's exactly the feeling I got when I listened to your music. It's kind of like tribal, like closely connected to nature for some reason. When you listen to that, it's where the lyrics are not the most important. Like you don't have to understand what's being said, but you kind of like feel it from the way it's sang. Yeah,
our drummer is very nature connected individual. More than most of us, I guess.
Good for him.
Yeah.
All right, now speaking of, I have asked you before, and you said that not everybody, not every core member is now in Taiwan. How does that influence producing music and creating something if people are not around? Like, do you prefer to hire or have somebody from outside to come in and fill in their part? Do you do it via Zoom, long distance call? Or do you work on something and wait until the person comes back?
I think it's always based on the arrangement. Whenever you arrange the schedule, the songs, the tour, it takes a lot of effort to do it. For now, we can do like streaming online. We can even do rehearsal online if the internet is working so well. And we don't need to be in the same room as a band all the time. So there will be some period as composing. We need like at least 1 or 2 months to make the structure or a sketch of the music. And then we start to think, okay, who is doing the arrangement, or is based on jamming? If so, we probably need like 4 weeks or 4 weekends to catch the elements from the jamming. We don't really need to be there all the time. The only thing got to be there is about the tour. You got to block these people together.
Yes.
Like play, live together, traffic together, or problems together. It's pain in the ass because you got to stay with them for sometimes many months, sometimes longer. It's a highly pressure for the producer or supervisor because you got to take care of the whole crew. Sometimes big, sometimes less. And then it's very, very hard. Yeah, but it won't last so long. If the tour, if we say like, okay, we got to play the tour in 2 months, so everybody got to prepare their families and economy situation, money problems. it's not easy to arrange that. The other time we got to arrange the career, which is harder. Like some members, like our flute members, she just have a baby. So we are waiting for her, because when people have a baby, you got to take care of the little baby for at least 1 or 2 years when they are really young. So it's about how do you arrange your career if you have a baby, and then got to think of how to take care of your baby or your albums. Albums is just like our babies. So we got to take care and then
nurture.
Yeah. Start to promote it or let people know about, you have a baby. So got to take care.
I mean, in general, I would say it's kind of not so problematic to play, because this is, of course, there's a lot of organization involved. Still depending also on the size of the band. When you have like 4 or 5 people, it's still a bit easier than maybe a typical pop band with all what belongs to it. So in that jazz context or world music context, that might be still a little bit simpler. But at the end, it doesn't matter so much where the members of the band live, where they have their life center, because you can just meet up for the tour and do it, and then it's a limited time period, and you can organize that. It is indeed more difficult to work on new music. Of course, meanwhile, online rehearsals are theoretically possible, but honestly, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm too old school for that. For example, I'm still refusing to teach piano online, because I believe in that connection between teacher and student, which needs to be there, and you need to feel that this has something, I don't know, can call it vibrations or just mood or whatever. It's very important. It's very important for the learning process. This is the point. And I believe that is the same for a band rehearsal. It's not only the notes, it's not only the technical stuff, it's not only the playing together. There needs to be a certain a vibration in the room. This is where the really good music happens, when people are really connected. And in this sense, it makes a millisecond makes a universe of a difference. It's so tiny, it's so subtle, this understanding between musicians, that you can only create it in a room. And even if the other one hears it on the other side. So in that sense, I would say we have a little bit of creative pause. Everyone for himself can write, of course, that would not stop, but the working together is limited. And the good old sessions are simply not possible.